Okay, so Sharon, did you want to start the meeting or do you want me to do that?
Oh, I think we're in good hands with you.
Okay.
So
Okay. All right, so this is the 2021 budget workshop. We're going to do an overview and do some follow-ups and go from there. So we have in the room Kevin Schutte, Randy Netherland, Sharon Trask, Dan Tudeberg, Diedrich Allen, Diane Zorn, Kelly Frazier, and myself, Jennifer Byerly. So we're going to start off with a budget overview, where we're at with budget level 3. And I believe this is on the website as well. So far in current expense, we are, including beginning fund balance, we're at $53,026,554. Beginning fund balance is 14 million. And if we take that out, we are at $39,026,554. And we started out on October 5th. We have added in since that time 1.2 million $32,369 into the beginning fund balance to come up with the 14 million. And we have removed out of budget level 3 in the PLR column that's highlighted yellow, a total of 314,000. And that consists of, we added in 16,000 in historical preservation, since we are creating that new department and deleting the fund beginning in 2021. We have also added in 20,000 to the Sheriff Department revenue, which is a contract with Pioneer School, and that's also on the expense side. And we deleted out of the Treasurer's Department revenue 350,000. And so that is a total of 314,000 that we have removed that was in budget level 3, or the maintenance level, on October 5th. So that is total additions of $918,369 if you take the 1.232369 million that we added to beginning fund balance, less the 314,000. So we have added that 918,369. Any questions on the revenue side before we go over the expense side? Okay. So on the expenditure side of the current expense, or the general fund, we have 53,026,554. Removing ending fund balance, we have 12,226,175 in ending fund balance. If we remove that, we have a total of expenditures of $40,800,379. And right now, the total revenue less expenditures is sitting in budget level 3 is $1,773,825. We started off on October 5th being out of balance between revenue and expenditures. We had $585,539. And we have since added to that amount the 1,188,286 to come up with that 1,773,825. That number consists of 874,291 that we have added to the expense side of the PLRs, approved PLRs, and the 314,000 referenced under the revenue side. If we take the 874,291, add in the additions to ending fund balance, $44,078 since the prior meeting, we are at the total additions to the general fund, 2021 maintenance level 3 expenditure budget since October 5, of 918,369, which balances with the revenue side. Is there any questions on any of that? I know it's a lot of confusing information.
Yeah, did you send any of this to me in a hard format so I could look at it?
I did, yes. It was in an email.
Email? Okay.
Yeah, on Friday, I believe.
So Jennifer, are we doing questions now, or?
Yeah, if you guys are ready to do questions, yes, we can do that. If you want me to go over like the 2% non-union wage increase first, we can do that.
That's one of the questions, so yeah.
Okay. So what I came up with for the 2% for the general fund is a total of $75,162, which is, I would have to go back and double check that figure, but I think it's a pretty good figure. That's the salaries plus benefits. And for the other funds, it would be a total of $54,660 roughly, and the grand total $129,822. And the question on the comp time, also the non-union people that would earn or would be eligible for comp time, that would be a fairly minimal dollar amount. I mean, we're looking at a cost of maybe between $200 and $250 a day, roughly, fully loaded. You know, if we have, I don't know how many staff would be working on that day, but if they worked, you know, if we had 4 employees, you know, maybe $1,000. And then if it's comp time, of course, it's no budget impact, but if they were to be able to be paid out for that comp time at the end of the year, it would be covered hopefully in the dollar amount that's budgeted for overtime. So, you know, we're looking at a fairly low dollar amount there, maybe $1,000 is my estimate. Does that answer that question from earlier today?
So is that total amount or per person? Total, right?
A total. I would think a total.
Okay.
And it's pretty minimal, considering, you know, looking at a $40 million plus budget. So, but every little bit adds up, you know.
It does.
So yeah, I guess we're ready for other questions. I do have a couple other follow-up items we can look at too after questions.
Commissioners, do you mind if I jump in?
Please.
So I guess 2 right off the top of my head is where are we with incorporating other the collective bargaining agreements? Are those all loaded into this number, or are there any outstanding?
So we have the general services Teamsters that is not in this budget. And that I believe is going to be roughly 35,000 probably current expense impact, somewhere in there. I need to get the information on where those employees are going to be. I think that was the last place we were at, is where to place those employees on the new steps.
Okay.
It's entered in.
And then how much, if any, of the spending is considered one time or can be considered one time.
So I also need to compile that for you. But there's also going to be a lot of one-time revenues in this budget. So I'm thinking off the top of my head that there may be more one-time revenues in this budget than there are one-time expenditures possibly, but that's just a guess until I go through and actually nail down those one-time expenditures.
Okay. And then I guess looking at this, Jennifer, where or how would I parse out what it would look like if we just completely went with the guidelines and just did a flat fund the CBAs, the contracts, and then pulled back any FTE increases that are included in the 874 or the overage?
Any FTE increases minus any of the increases that may be because of grant. Money in, money out.
I can compile that and get that to you as well. And we can go over those figures next Monday.
Okay,
that's all I had, I guess, for
Did
now.
we already bake into this New Year's thing the actually never mind, it's going to come out of REIT and stuff anyway. Also, commissioners, there is the 1% still out there.
Yeah, the 1% property tax.
Yeah.
And
I'm just saying it's out there. I'm not saying, I'm just throwing it out.
Yeah, and I did talk to Sierra in the assessor's office about the new construction, and she wasn't able to provide the new construction total at this time, but she did say that what they're telling other taxing districts is to use your last year's new construction as an estimate. Last year, ours was $109,000 for current expense.
How much are we taking into account the CARES money?
So this budget is not taking into account the CARES money at all. It does take into account, I think it was $150,000 in revenue for FEMA as a receivable.
But nothing from the CARES money.
No, nothing from the CARES money. Because at the time that this budget was put together, we didn't have the information on the salaries for law enforcement and public health. And so it was thought that that money would be a strict in and out. And so there wouldn't be any carry forward.
Yeah, no. That would be accurate if we're looking at wages. Using wages in the CARES, that's definitely would be accurate. In and out.
Well, and just trying to be conservative about, not carrying forward additional salaries when we weren't sure how much of the salaries were going to be recoverable since it was only overtime. When I looked at FEMA, how much
That has changed.
What's that?
That's changed.
No, FEMA will still just pay for the overtime.
I didn't mean FEMA. I meant on the CARES money, though.
Well, now it has changed.
Yeah, we're having discussions about utilizing those dollars, but that'll help as a one-time cost, not as a long-term. That doesn't address the bow wave.
Right. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the possible levy shift in lieu of diversion that was brought up. I believe that was at the October 5th meeting. And so I had emailed to you commissioners the 3 different scenarios. One was 500,000, one was a million, and one was the full 2.16 million that we're currently funding or removing from roads and is going to traffic. And in all 3 of these scenarios, it's not hurting any of the junior taxing districts. So is that something that you would like to look at, or what direction would you like to move or not move with that diversion versus levy shift? Or do you want to come back to that?
Well, I know that regardless of what we do on this side of the budget, being able to have more flexibility in the budget in the sheriff's department may be appreciative over there, but it's just 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
What would be, Jennifer, what would be a kind of like a drop dead date that would have to make a decision on that by the end of November when we certify the levies?
Yes, I believe it's when we certify the levies is when that would have to be decided.
Okay.
So if you want to think about it, we do have a little bit more time.
I'd like to think about it.
Okay.
Jennifer, on the courthouse security, the amount that we have now, does that include what the update was this morning? The increase in the wages?
No, it does not include any increase in there. And that's something I'm going to email to you as well, is the building 10, what that's going to cost us to run, because right now everything is running through REIT Fund 350. And once that building goes into service, those costs to operate that building have to come out of the general fund. So that'll be another additional added continued cost that we have to account for and look at.
Do you have any idea how much that will be? Just a guesstimate?
I don't, and I'm not comfortable throwing anything out at this time. I'll get something together for you, and I need to run it by Frank and Kelly also before I'm comfortable saying any number for that. So,
Sounds good.
okay. Also in this budget, in the revenue side, is the 102,000 for the treatment sales tax revenue going into the sheriff department, and that was removed out of the expense side of Fund 164, the mental health, where the treatment sales tax comes in. So that's out of balance in this budget. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. And we do have a meeting tomorrow where hopefully more of that will be figured out and how we can bill those funds.
Jen, as you look at the PLRs that we've moved over so far, can you break those down? Can you itemize those for us for next week?
Yes.
Not so much concerned about the ones that are still out there, just the ones that we've.
Anything, I think maybe we need just to focus on the ones we're already looking at.
Right. Yeah, just taking a look at the ones that we've already already discussed and showed support for.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I'll send you that, and then a comparison of last year's budget versus this year's budget, and the difference with a focus on, yeah, the salaries and benefits, and then the rest of the operating, and then the revenue as well. So I'll send that to you, and we can take another look at this next Monday.
That would be good.
With recommendations from you on what places we may be able to relook at again.
Okay.
Wasn't seems like we were also going to talk about the ER&R.
Yeah, I need to send you the rates on the motor pool on Enterprise, so we can definitely incorporate that into next week as well. I have the rates. We were going to do a comparison of like if we were staying in ER&R versus if, you know, we are going to Enterprise. I think that was the discussion on that. So I'll try to get with Frank on that, and have something ready to go for next Monday on that.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome. So that takes care of all of the general fund questions at this time. I do have the overview of the special and other funds as well. We have a total of $72,644,047 in revenue. There's a $9 difference, which I believe is just rounding between the revenue and expense. So I just wanted to point that out. Those will be balanced once we balance the budget. I just didn't bother to find $9 in here for this meeting. So anyway, just wanted to point that out. But so far in the expense side, we just have the two outstanding PLRs. We have the one for Fund 402 in the landfill, the $2,343,615, which is not going to be approved, and then we have that $102,000 for the TST, which is the $17,570 is actually the difference between what went into ending fund balance and that $102,000. So those are the two items on the special funds. So questions or comments on that?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, so I will get that information together and send it to you, and we can discuss again on Monday.
Somehow, Jennifer, we need to, just take a third look at certain aspects of it. Again, as was mentioned earlier, what would it look like as status quo? We need to take out, if possible, even though we're talking these revenues coming in, what type of expenditures one time that we can look at anyway, because next year, as we're looking at this year, we're going to have to plan it for next year, this status quo number, plus an additional $1 million for increases to see where we're at. And it's going to be hard to accomplish that without going into reserves, or not reserves, into our ending fund balance in the future, because it's going to take a while to catch up to that. 1 million per year is a lot, considering we get 1%, which is, we're looking at $100,000, right?
Yeah, I mean, our expenditures are increasing at a faster rate than our revenue. I mean, our revenue is actually lower in this budget than it was in last year's budget, and then our expenditures have increased. So it, yeah, we definitely don't want to go down that route on a.
But some of that's because we're being cautious with our revenue coming in, but we still need to have that in our sights for next year to realize that no matter what is the very bare minimum, we're going to look at whatever the status quo number would be that we put together without adding anybody, and remember that next year it will be an additional $1 million on top of that to cover just standard costs. That's not counting if we get some big contracts for other things. I'm only just talking about the basic wages and like. Don't be wrong, we're in good shape, but at the same time, we're in good shape today. But tomorrow that changes, and
Yeah, exactly.
we're going to be running backwards.
Right.
Yeah, we're definitely at the upper limits of my comfort level, and it's not so much about 21.
Yeah,
it's beyond.
Yes, I agree with you.
So
yeah. We're just hoping that things pick up next year. I don't know that they will.
Well, the interesting thing is they picked up this year. We're better off this year at the end of the year than we were last year at the end of the year. But still, we've all talked about it. Sooner or later, there's a hit. It's just the way it always works. There is no forever.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what our sales tax is now that people have started relaxing and going out and shopping. So I'm hoping that they're still not going, stay in Mason County and shop. Don't go to Thurston or Kitsap.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so are there any other questions or comments before we sign off?
I'm sure I'm going to have a lot later.
Okay. Great, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.